My lord, I'm afraid you were right when you said these hostilities wouldn't end at Pribyslavitz.
That comes as no surprise.
What has happened?
My men reported 2 more attacks today.
Ah, Henry. I'm glad you're here. It seems like we'll have another task for you. Come and join us.
My lord.
Greetings, lad.
The bandits raided a few remote hamlets, but that's the least of our worries. They also attacked Merhoyed, and that's a much more serious matter.
Merhoyed. Matthias is working there.
They attacked right after the battle in Pribyslavitz. Bastards were probably trying to prove they're still strong. But there's a silver lining. The villagers held them off, and they even took 1 captive. He's wounded, but we can still interrogate him.
Your Graces, I hope I'm not intruding.
On the contrary, Master Tobias. Unlike Bernard, you are the bearer of good tidings. Or so I gather from the coin you carry. Tell me, how many groschen did we find in Pribyslavitz?
My lord, I'm sorry, but my news is no better than Captain Bernard's. These coins are very good. That is to say, well-made facsimiles, as we call them.
What? I don't give a what you call them. I want to know what they're facking worth.
That's just it, sir. They're worth nothing.
Are you saying what I think you're saying, Master Tobias? This here
is just a pile of copper.
Kurva! Fuck!
Plated with silver, so it's still of some worth.
Kurva! Fuck!
Is it a lot of work to make such counterfeits, Master Tobias?
I should say so, sir. Highly demanding work. Especially to make such plausible forgeries. They would need a well-hidden foundry, several craftsmen, and a source of material.
But they could just be brought in from somewhere else, could they not?
Well, they could, but then again, the silver mines are nearby, and these groschen seem freshly minted, so...
So we are facing a foe who has almost limitless sources of coin. That's all we need.
Doppeltel.
Well, gentlemen, it's clear what we have to do. Interrogate that captive bandit, find out their numbers, and promptly cut off their supply of money. Otherwise, they'll soon have another encampment.
If they haven't already.
I doubt it, sir. Merhoyed wouldn't have been able to hold them off if they did.
Well, lad, I said we'd have work for you, but it never crossed my mind there would be this much. You've already proved your worth as an investigator, so I'm putting my faith in you again. Go to Merhoyed and question that captive. Find out where those brigands are hiding, how many there are, and what they're planning. And while you're at it, see if you can find some clues as to where this counterfeit coin is coming from.
Very well, sir.
Good luck. We're counting on you. All of us. Come report to me as soon as you know anything. I'll be at the lookout point near Talmberg.
Hal? You're a sight for sore eyes. What are you doing here?
It's good to see you too, Matthias. Sir Radzig sent me here to investigate the raid.
Sir Radzig? Looks like you've come up in the world, mate. You're here as his envoy?
Yeah, something like that. But that's not important right now.
Well, I'm glad to see you have a job. Lots of our old neighbors have been reduced to begging. If I were in your shoes, I'd get the hell out of here. There's some disease spreading.
Disease?
Folk are saying it's the plague. Whatever it is, it's bad. It started the day after the raid. First the horses got sick, then other animals, and now people are falling ill too.
Oh, damn! Tell me about the raid.
What do you want to know?
Can you describe the raiders?
I don't know. They came at dusk, so you couldn't see their faces. About 20 of them. They weren't humans, though. They spoke Czech.
You talked to them?
No. They were shouting at us. They were very sure of themselves to begin with, but when we hit them in the woods, they didn't look so brave.
I know you've got courage enough for any man, but how did a bunch of untrained villagers manage to hold off armed bandits?
One of the village lads caught sight of them coming through the woods and told Melikar, who roused the whole village, and everyone grabbed what they could. Pitchforks, axes, flails, and we went out to face them.
What? You mounted an assault against them?
Aye, and that was the key. It was the last thing those whoresons expected. A few of them still managed to break through to the village, probably wanted to torch it. But even the women here were armed with what they could find, and they took the bastards by surprise.
I hear one of the raiders was taken captive. I'd like to question him.
Aye, old Melikar let him have it over the head with a flail, and now he's locked up in the barn. But be careful.
Why's that?
That fucker killed young Straw, and his old man's sharpening his sickle for him. Melikar still hasn't decided what to do with him.
I understand old Straw wants revenge, but first I have to question that bandit. What happens after is no skin off my nose.
Good luck, then.
About this sickness. When did this plague start?
The day after the raid, the horses were lying down in the stable, so we knew something was up. By afternoon, they were all dead. Then other animals started getting sick, one after the other, and then people.
What are the signs that someone's getting sick?
I don't leave the house much, but folk complain of fever and shakes. Some are throwing their guts up, and others are spewing from the other end.
Has anyone died from it?
Aye, old Verba. Although he was already on his last legs, so no one knows for sure if it was the plague that got him. Either way, the animals are dropping like flies, and people will end up the same for sure.
Who's ill now?
I don't know. What with my arm the way it is, I don't go outdoors much. But I know Melikar and Straw have sick ones at home.
Are you alright?
Well, at least I haven't caught the sickness.
But you've been hurt.
It happened during the raid. One of those damn bandits fell on me, horse and all. My arm's badly broken, but better than a broken neck.
Can I ask you a bit about Merhoyed?
I haven't been here long enough to learn much, but ask away.
Can you tell me something about Old Straw?
He's a woodcutter, tough as they come, and a hothead. He's been out of his mind since his boy died.
It's normal to grieve, though.
Depends how you look at it. Folk are afraid he'll snap or drink himself to death. What's worse, his wife caught the sickness, and he's not taking care of her.
Where can I find this Straw?
When you take the main gate out of the stables, you'll see 2 cottages outside. Straw lives in the right-hand one.
What's Melikar like?
The locals look up to him. Smill used to be in charge here, but he was killed in Neuhof.
I know.
Sir Hanush hasn't had time to appoint a new vassal, and folk need someone to speak for them, so they picked Melikar.
Since when do subjects govern a village in place of the lord?
What can we do? If it weren't for Melikar, those bandits would have torched the place to the ground. The villagers won't follow anyone else.
What's Melikar like?
The locals look up to him. Smill used to be in charge here, but he was killed in Neuhof.
I know.
Sir Hanush hasn't had time to appoint a new vassal, and folk need someone to speak for them, so they picked Melikar.
Thank God you had someone here who could take the reins.
Aye.
Where does Melikar live?
When you take the main gate out of the stables, you'll see 2 cottages outside. Melikar lives in the left-hand one.
Tell me about the raid.
What do you want to know?
I hear one of the raiders was taken captive. I'd like to question him.
Aye, old Melikar let him have it over the head with a flail, and now he's locked up in the barn. But be careful.
Why's that?
That fucker killed young Straw, and his old man's sharpening his sickle for him. Melikar still hasn't decided what to do with him.
I understand Old Straw wants revenge, but first I have to question that bandit. What happens after is no skin off my nose.
Good luck, then.
The Lord be praised. What brings you to me?
I've returned from Merhoyed, sir.
How does it look then?
I brought them help from the monastery. Brother Nicodemus and Johanka from Skalitz. Fortunately, Nicodemus was able to cure the disease. Well, at least what he's doing looks promising so far.
Thank Christ. Some good news for a change. What about the captive? Did you question him?
He was infected too.
I see. Did he survive?
No, but even dead he was of some use. It seems that bandit was a messenger. He was carrying a letter.
That's interesting. And what's in the letter?
Take a look for yourself, sir.
The names of the sender and recipient aren't written there, just the initials S and T. Seems to have some quarrel between them. This S person is threatening to finish with counterfeiting. Apparently, there's some German knight on the trail of the merchant Menhart. At the time the letter was written, the knight was in the tavern in Sasau asking about him.
That sounds like a promising lead.
You go to Sasau and find out what you can about this foreign knight. If he really is following Menhart, then he must know more than we do.
Very well, sir.
Don't go yet. There's something I'd like to talk to you about. Take care.